new Africa Broadcasting Network.
Hello, my name is Anthony Afolo. Welcome to our very popular show, Let's Talk About It on NABNTV. Today we'll be talking about the Omicron variant, the new virus member of the COVID family. I have with me here in the studios our experts that will be talking about the subject matter. Dr. Terrence Baker, who is a regular on our show, the host of Doctors in the House. He will be speaking to us and enlightening us regarding the virus itself. And I also have with me a new member of the NABNTV family, Dr. Victor King. Dr. King will be also giving us his perspective on what's happening at the moment. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Afolo. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Today's we have there's a scheduled African Investment Forum scheduled for Abidjan from the 1st to the 3rd of December, of which NABNTV was invited. We actually, set out, you inclusive, yesterday. We got to JFK International Airport only to learn that the forum invested, it was canceled, all because of this Omicron discovery. And what do you have to say to that?
Well, first off, I commend the bank, the African Development Bank. I commend the leadership team on closing the conference. You had hundreds, if not thousands, of investors coming from around the world, from many different nations, including 36 to 38 African nations. And the risk to the attendees was significant. And you say, why significant? Because we don't yet know enough about Omicron to understand how dangerous it is or not. And you certainly can't invite guests into your home, 1,000 guests into your home, when you have an unknown danger, a possible danger in the house. And so the bank, in my opinion, made a wise decision, and it is to their credit. And you understand, again, the African nations are to be commended upon their integrity. And why is that? Well, billions and billions, it's estimated $140 billion worth of investors were coming to invest money in the nations of Africa at this conference. Deals would be concluded. Deal paperwork was going to be signed. Billions of dollars is still on the table, uninvested, because of this conference needing to be closed. So this was financially, in the face of certain financial dangers, the bank, the African Development Bank, did the right thing. Its leadership team and the organizers of this conference, in my opinion as a physician, took the correct action.
The last word.
And I'm saying to you that Dr. Akinwumi Adesina has been doing a very fantastic job. We have to commend him. I mean, coming into Africa Development Bank in 2015, the first time has been very massive. And just like Dr. Baker said, over 118 deals were on the table. That's going to amount to hundreds of billions of dollars. So that shows you that Africa is moving forward. And the leadership considers safety first above money. Now, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina has already said that a whole lot of things are going behind the scene. So it's not as if to say it's outrightly cancelled. You just have to shift the date forward until when we see what is right on the table. And so you can see that there's so much opportunity in Africa. And with this kind of foreign direct investment, wow, the future of Africa is going to be very massive.
Yeah, Dr. Baker, let me begin with you. Just less than 2 years ago, we started speaking on this same subject matter, actually, the COVID-19. And we've spoken extensively about it. You've educated our audience about what's going on and the precautionary measure that they need to adopt. Now today, we're talking about Omicron virus. What is Omicron virus?
Omicron virus is a variant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus that first became known in the fall of 2019. Was identified in Wuhan, China, and that was the alpha virus. Subsequently, there have been multiple mutations, that is, changes, adaptations, if you will, of the virus to the environment, and to men and women living throughout the world. Some of those variants have been the MU, Delta has been another one, the Alpha has been another one, and so Gamma, another variant that we have been examining and dealing with. Now back to your question about Omicron. The reason Omicron has been creating such an interest is it was first identified in South Africa on November the 24th, 2021, so just a few days ago. It was identified by researchers and scientists in South Africa who recognized that something had changed, and when they began to look at it under the microscope and examine it, they found that Omicron has over 30 different mutations compared to Delta and Mu and Alpha and Gamma, over 30 different mutations, which may make it more infectious. We don't know yet the impact that these 30 modifications of Omicron will cause disease among the Africans, among Europeans, and patients everywhere is yet unknown. Will the vaccination be effective against it? We don't yet know. Many questions still remain concerning the new virus, and aggressive research is underway. But in the meantime, as a means of precaution, nations around the world are limiting travel in the hopes of reducing the spread.
Now, Dr. King, the United States immediately put travel restrictions as a result of following the outbreak, that we're currently experiencing. Why do you think the Southern African countries are objecting to such treatments, if I may add?
Well, I think just like Dr. Baker says, researchers in South Africa needed to be appraised, They need to be given a thumb up. I mean, when you talk about people being on guard, I mean, South Africa should be like considered in Africa, like third world country, or the way we put them, you understand what I'm saying? And so this directly should not actually be the first country to discover the Omicron variant. And so I don't think, if I'm the one who discovers something, you should not put a travel ban on me. That should not be the first thing. In fact, you should call me and let me say, oh, this is how much we have been able to discover the impact and the effect of what we've just discovered. So placing a ban on them is not the immediate solution that's supposed to be, because you are putting an alarmist tendency on their economy.
Would you say it's the right thing to do, Dr. Baker, currently, immediately?
No. About 6 months ago, my Dr. Jack Greiner at Harvard Medical School and myself published a paper called Guidelines to Reopening Nations. In that document, about an 80-page document, we talk about the dangers of repeated nation closure and border restrictions. Number one is they're not effective. The cat is already out of the bag, if you will. It's like having a house full of cats and you open the front door and out come the cats. Well, the same thing's true of the virus. This Omicron virus may not yet be identified, but statistically the chances are it's already widely spread. That's number one. Number two is that nation closure is not effective in controlling the virus. And the reason being is that with Omicron, we have seen patients in Europe that have been identified with Omicron who have never been to South Africa and have never been associated with anybody from South Africa. And so we know that these mutations can and do occur, and no one knows where this mutation, Omicron, came from.
Exactly. That was going to, just the discovery was in South Africa by the South African scientists. The origin is still in question. We don't know where it came from.
That's right.
And already we have cases of it all around Europe and in Canada, as well. And what I'm hearing you say is that the travel restriction in itself is ill-advised.
Because the cat is already out of the bag. And once the cat is already out of the bag, I mean, it can spread to any place. So locating it in South Africa, like we rightly said, what we need to do is to collaborate with Africa.
Yes.
Collaborate with Africa to, I mean, when you look at the report right now, Africa is less on vaccination. We have 64% of vaccination in the United States. We have 62 in Europe. We have 10% of vaccination in Africa. And some of these countries cannot even afford some of these vaccines. You understand what I'm saying? So what we need to do as the Western world is supposed to put in a lot of support for Africa. I mean, is this support that is, I mean, if scientists in South Africa can discover something, and we need to give them a thumbs up and give them more support, give them more vaccines so that more people can get vaccinated, either for the first one and the second one. You can see in the United States, we've moved before the first dose, the second dose, we have moved to boosters.
Right.
While even in Africa, some people have not even started the first one. And so this is something that affects the entire world, and the world should rise up to give attention to it.
Does the Western world have an obligation to make sure that the excess supply, for instance, that I believe we do have here, goes to places that are less privileged?
Well, I believe that to be true. I believe several things need to happen. Number one is it's not just excessive vaccine, but that's create vaccine, and we can do it here, and we can set up manufacturing there in each of the African nations. So that's number one. Number two is we need to educate the African nations. And number three, we need to educate the world that as goes Africa, goes the world.
Yes.
Because if you don't put together a comprehensive plan for controlling the pandemic in the largest land mass in the world, with Nigeria being the third most populated nation in the world, if you don't put together a comprehensive plan to assist the nations, the 54 nations of Africa, to control this pandemic, the rest of the world will never be controlled.
Yeah.
Because mutations will continue to come out of the 54 African nations as the virus continues to have an opportunity to change and manipulate itself in order to survive. So as goes Africa, goes the world, and the world nations, the world leaders of Europe, America, Canada, Mexico, South America, need to understand that they need to reach out and embrace the African nations, because we're in this as a family. We are family when it comes to the pandemic.
And even if I'm going to add to what Dr. Baker just said, now look at the foreign direct investment that comes into Africa. Now, so China and United States, Europe, all the nations of the world focuses on Africa to give them a whole lot of raw material for their production. And so a closure of the economy of Africa directly extend to the foreign nations that need all of these mineral resources. And just like Dr. Baker said, you know, Africa is 1.2 billion people. Africa has the youngest human capital in the world. Africa has the largest amount of mineral resources, natural resources. And so coming to, I mean, what, as it says, what goes in Africa goes around the world. Right. So helping Africa is helping the world, because we are in this all together.
Well, gentlemen, I would like to leave it, here. It's been a very good conversation, and I believe that's the forum, the convention itself, the conference in Abidjan. It's just postponed. It's going to be rescheduled. At which time we will, get more information. And NABNTV, as always, will be there to cover the conference. Thanks again for coming. I want to thank our audience for being with us. Please reach out to us on info@nabntv.com. That is info@nabntv.com for comments. And we look forward to being with you soon. My name is Anthony Afolo. Thanks for watching.
Africa is a continent with great potential, with a population of 1.2 billion out of the 7 billion of people in the world, and with the most youthful population demographic in the world. Africa is a place of promise. Africa is also the second largest continent in the world, and it has the most expansive and diverse concentrations of natural resources.
After centuries of domination, oppression, enslavement, and slave exploitation, Africa woke up and became aware of its strength and the underlying force behind that strength.
is not left behind. But Africa this time is wiser. They're saying we want value for money. Remember, I say the time for the African lion is now.
It will be interesting to see what Africa has to offer in terms of its natural resources, and we'll bring you that. We'll educate you, we'll keep you informed, and then where necessary, we're going to entertain you. We'll see you later.
NABNTV brings to you the beauty, diversity, creativity, and rich culture of Africa. Coming soon to you. Africa, your time is now.
NABNTV, inspiring a new generation.